Last week on Women in Sport Africa, we got to learn of the story of Sinalo Jafta, not just a cricketer, but the things that have gone on in her life to somewhat maybe derail her. But we know that she has risen because we saw her play in the 2023 Cricket World Cup as well as 2025. So as we anticipate another one this year, we hear from her how she's risen to a point where she's going to play yet another World Cup for the Proteas women. It's Wiser, and this is part 2 of the Sinalo Jafta story. And I know last week we left you just on the edge of your seats trying to understand what exactly happened in Birmingham. But of course, then Sinalo will write that in a book, which we'll get to read soon. But Sinalo, continuing from when you came back from the Commonwealth Games, this is what, in 2022, 23, 22, you come back, you have that meeting with the team management, and that's when you said they realized that there's actually a big problem.
You know how, like, as an addict, you're so like naive. Everyone knew what was going on. But it was more for me to realize what was going on. Because I think if I went to rehab prematurely, I would have probably relapsed or not gone at all. But after, like, I submitted, I was like, I'm done. And I remember Doc was like, you probably have to go in for 3 months. I said, no. I'll go in for the medical aid 21 days, because medical aid covers 21 days. Here, 4 days in, I said I'm extending. I don't know how long it's going to take. That's when I was willing to actually stay the 3 months. Yeah. Because I realized that, listen, alcohol's never the problem. Yes, it's a problem, but I've got more demons to deal with inside my head. Because what do you mean I'm drinking when I'm happy or sad? Because then I'm always going to drink, because that's how emotions work. And when I got into rehab, I got humbled really quickly, because they didn't care that I was an athlete. They cared about the human being. And I just remember, like, Cricket South Africa tried to get them to reach out for me to train, because obviously that was during the time that Trisha Chetty retired. Yes. So everything is happening when I'm in rehab. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
And Sinalo, wait, but this is 2022. Yes. We've got the 2023 World Cup that's coming up.
I'm in rehab in October.
Yo, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm in rehab in October, and I've said I'm going to stay here for as long as it takes. And Doc was like, nope, I'm giving you 2 months.
Because you wanted to get to the World Cup.
At that point, I didn't even know where I was. Remember, I came in knowing that I was probably going to lose the contract. So when I went in there, I had no obligation. And what the counselors did very well, they said, you're not here to think about cricket. You're here to get you better, so that when we take you out, whether you have a career or not, the person is still intact. So remember, they took your phone, they took everything. So I do not know what was happening on the outside world. I had zero clue. And I think that's what saved my life, because I was just there. Whether I came out losing my job, whether I came back having a job, that was irrelevant, because the person was still there. Sure. Because from there, I knew, 1, I'm a resilient person. 2, I'll be okay. Because if anything, I've got hockey to fall back on. So I mapped it out. I was like, okay, if cricket doesn't work, we're going back to hockey. And then, fortunately, when I left, they allowed me to train maybe the last week, once I finished all, like, my step work that you're supposed to do. And once I finished that, they allowed me to start training. I was like, jeepers, I'm unfit. And I was weighing like 10 kgs over to what I'm weighing now. Like, I was 75, I'm currently 65 kgs now. And, like, in that process, I remember coming out on the 8th of Jan, catch wind that Trisha's retired. I'm playing the World Cup. And I'm like, oh my goodness. When's the next camp? 5th of Jan. And I'm like, I have 3 weeks. And I looked at our SNC, I was like, Zayn,
how's that gonna happen?
I'm unfit. And he's like, don't worry, I got you. And I think that whole World Cup, my sobriety, the team, they carried me throughout. I want to track back just a little bit, Sinalo, to sit on the rehab. What lessons are you learning, or things you're confronting about yourself then? Because I feel like if we go past through it quickly, then we miss what was actually the problem. Yeah, I think I had a lot of resentments towards my dad, not knowing him, still don't know him. But, like, now I've come to accept it. And when I look now, 4 years, hopefully in October, if he ever reached out, I'm opening to talk to him, whereas before I hated the idea of it. So it allowed me to be accepting of what I cannot control, being honest in everything I do. everything I do, if you're honest, you're going to drink. That's what they tell you, and true to that, because it happens quite a bit. If you're open-minded, because life comes in different shapes, like it comes in different surroundings or whatever. And once you're not open-minded to what's happening, you're always going to default to your old habits.
Yeah.
Honest, open-minded, and willing. Always willing to learn, always willing to understand, always willing to know that someone is always going through something. So having that compassion. And I still remember when I was inside, it was also shared living, none of the single rooms. And that really was for me the humility moment. Just seeing different people coming from different backgrounds. And it's not just from athlete to a CEO to that. It's literally, and we all strip bare to just get sober. And I think that's the one thing that I got out of rehab is like, they don't care who you are there. They just care about your life.
Oh, okay. So now you said willingness to learn, willingness to, I guess, be part of the process. At which point did you give in to the process?
4 days.
Why 4 days? What happened so quickly to get you there?
I did my step 1, where I realized that I'm powerless over alcohol. And that's all it took. Because I realized that I do not want to be in this spiral the whole time. So once I let that go into say, okay, I'm alcoholic. Me saying I'm powerless means that I finally realized, hi, I'm Sinalo and I'm an alcoholic, and I can say it proudly. And till this day, I am proud to say I'm an alcoholic because it saved my life. Without the Sinalo alcoholic, I would have still been there, probably jobless. You never know, probably dead. I don't know. I was going that route.
How crucial then was it? Because typically in such circumstances, especially in the South African context, and I think globally, when something happens like this to an athlete, coming back is very, very less likely. What in Cricket South Africa's approach and assistance made it easier for you, if it did in any way?
Oh, jeepers. I went in there broke. I maxed out everything, and Cricket South Africa said, it's fine, we'll pay for this. And they made sure that I was sober. And like I always say to someone, that organization saved my life. And their patience, and they're saying, you know what, we're going to back our own. For me, that's something I can never, ever like, yeah, cricket saved my life. As much as I hated it, it also saved my life, which made me fall in love with it even more once I was inside to see what they did. And yeah, if it wasn't for Cricket South Africa, I don't think I'd be sober.
Sure. I suppose the importance of a federation that has supported someone through such a time, which sometimes we hardly see in life. When someone is down, we know that there's no support at all, and it's very hard to come out of it. So after the break, we catch up with Sinalo and continue to find out how she comes out of rehab to play in the 2023 Cricket World Cup on home soil in Cape Town. It's Women in Sport Africa. Welcome back to Women in Sport Africa. We have a date every Sunday at 12:30, and ours is simple, is to tell the stories of women in sport on the continent. And of course, we have our global superstar, Sinalo Jafta. Sinalo, I want to fast forward now to the time where you've come out of rehab, and it's been a successful one. I think you can say that, because then we were able to see you in 2023 on home soil Cricket World Cup.
Yeah, I think that World Cup, it's not by my will, it was all God. I still remember just being so nervous walking out. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? I shouldn't be here. And then there's just this voice to say, just give it horns. You've done the work, just give it horns. And that's what happened. I mean, the team was absolutely brilliant. What a team performance.
Yeah.
First ever final, first, like, everything, just being on home soil and like filling out Newlands. Who would have thought?
The Proteas women specifically.
Filling up the whole of Newlands.
Yeah.
And I just remember hearing the national anthem and I'm like, this is cool. This is dope. Let's do it again. And then, yeah, 2023, 2024, 2025. Yeah, we just can't group the trophy. Come on.
No, it's coming. It's going to happen.
June,
Ne?
England.
Yeah.
June, England.
That's where it's going to happen.
Yes.
But Sinalo, going back to this Cricket World Cup in 2023, I want us to just capture these moments where Newlands is sold out to a point where more tickets are wanted, but unfortunately they couldn't fill the ground more. How much of a moment of pride does it give you to sing the national anthem? I'm sure many a times your mom and your brother are there, and some of your family members are there to witness, especially after the fact.
Oh, apparently, Uvuyo Mngana says that mom was a vibe. Sia Kolisi was saying that, yeah, we're singing with your mom up there. So I get it from my mom. It was never the alcohol personality. It was always my mom. I remember Sia coming, I think it was after the semi.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, bro, I'm still on mama. Damn, girl. And then she went to voice like, hello, Schumacher. Yeah, and I think ever since then, like, my mom has been talking to him and bothering him, and, you know, just to see the pride in her. She didn't know cricket before that World Cup, by the way. Now she can tell you about your average, she can tell you about the stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's become a very analytical mom, which I don't like sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like that parent who's like, they're averaging, and you're like, Mama, just relax. I know that.
Now you can be Coach Banja's assistant.
Yeah. No, I don't want to introduce those two. They'll.
It's not going to work.
No.
But Sinalo, just again, that moment of pride that I'm speaking about, how do you paint that picture to say, just a few months back, I was in a hole. A few months later, here I am playing in a Cricket World Cup final. What in you says that? Because you credit Cricket South Africa, you credit the support system, but there's a fight within you that got you there.
No, 100%. I think the one thing that I learned is don't let your highs be too high and your lows be too low. You can always celebrate, but always bring yourself back. If you're down there, don't go there far too long. Mourn, accept, come back. And I think that's what's been keeping me sane. Like, and you know, when I look back now, I had the terrible twos in sobriety. I'm 3 years now, almost had a relapse. So you can tell, like, there's a lot of this, like a lot of it, and people miss that.
So Sinalo, now you're approaching 4 years sober, but not without its hurdles. What do the hurdles look like? And how do you ensure that you don't go back to those moments? Yeah,
so basically, you always have to be honest. I think there was so many dishonesties, and it's not major ones, but it's more like, Sinalo, how are you? And then instead of me to say I'm struggling, I'm saying, no, I'm good. And then the more that builds up, the more you get to that threshold where you're like, I can't. And, you know, like 3 World Cup finals, lost them. How are you? Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm struggling. We just, like, instead of me saying, I didn't like losing 3 times in a row. So, like, you understand the dishonesties in that.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, I was like to Doc, something's off. And I started seeing a psychologist. I'm still seeing him. And he literally said, you're going through depression. Put me on antidepressants. And then in that whole period, now my brain is quiet because of the antidepressants. I'm not used to that. I've been functioning apparently on anxiety for the last 3-4 years coming out of rehab, probably even before that. So now for the first time, my brain is just chilled. Now I don't know what to do with that. So now I'm looking for that high.
How do you fill those empty
spaces?
spaces?
And then now it's like, maybe I should have a drink. Those thoughts started coming. And then I was like, we've worked too hard. And I mean, then I obviously had to message someone within the fellowship and like, listen, something's going on here and I do not like it. And then obviously that was me just acknowledging that I was probably going to drink if I didn't reach out. So that's where I say my almost relapse.
Yeah. It sounds like it also comes with a level of pressure.
Yeah.
To have to maintain. So now it's so much pressure still.
No, I don't take it as pressure because it is, at the end of the day, a one-day program. I'm literally only sober for today. I'm not worried if I'm sober tomorrow or yesterday. That's done today. And I forgot that. That's the craziest thing. I forgot that one day at a time. I was more thinking about the future. What will I do when I'm 4 years sober? What will I do when I'm 5 years sober? But I forgot to say, God willing, I will be hopefully 4 years sober this year instead of saying, just today.
And Now, going to, because we've largely spoken about just Sinalo and your life and less about the game. And I feel like the Proteas women have entered different phases in these World Cup finals that you've made. We saw, number one, the game being professionalized. We saw you guys getting contracts, not just a few players, but the squad in general. And we're seeing a transition of younger players come now. In all of that, where do you see yourself currently in the setup?
No, obviously I see myself as a senior player, someone that is in the other half of the career. So now I'm 31, I'm easing out into the back end of my career. And I think for me, talking to Coach Mandla is to be the best example I can be. That is my role, be the best example. Because I can understand and I can be very open-minded, I come in as like someone that will understand what the youngsters are going through. If someone kind of goes off the rails, I quickly track them back. So I've become like that person that's always like positive. As a wicketkeeper, you kind of see everything. So I've always been that type to just sit, observe. If I see you doing something, I'm like, And yeah, I'm enjoying this phase of my career, training hard, showing up, and just being myself.
And also sitting on our necks on Instagram with your exercise regime.
10 kgs lower.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And we've been taking
Took me a while. Took me 3 years to get here. And
sure. It's Sinalo Jafta, our SA women cricket wicketkeeper, and we've just gone through for the most part, the struggles that have come with her life. And in the next segment, as we wrap up, we'll talk about the future of Sinalo Jafta, also including the Proteas women that are still chasing that World Cup title. Welcome back to Wiser, Women in Sport Africa, and we've reached the tail end of our conversation with Sinalo. Sinalo, so now we are in somewhat of a new dawn, but it's been a new dawn for some time now because Coach Mandla Mashimbi has taken you through a World Cup. But take me through that transition from Coach Hilton, who was there for some time, and now we're in the Coach Mandla era.
You know, two completely different people. Coach, they're both very patient people, but I think when I look at Coach Hilton, and I'm like someone that is very patient, because if it was up to any other coach, I think they would have given up on me and looked at the next person. So I think I will always be appreciative of his patience and actually allowing me to get the help I need. And then there's Coach Mandla, completely unorthodox coach, believes in team culture, being vulnerable as a person, because then you can be vulnerable as a cricketer, cares about the human first before the cricketer. And he's someone that set goals and targets for me where, funny enough, I'm literally ticking all the boxes that he set for me when he came in. All he asked for was for me to give myself a chance. I did that. Bat with positivity, I did that. And in that, he actually doesn't allow me to miss training sessions. So every time there's an optional session, I have to go. And funny enough, this year, I've made it a point that every time there's an optional gym session or fitness session, I'm going to do it. So it's like a give and take relationship. And I mean, he's someone that you can call at any time of the day and be like, Coach, what do you think of A, B, and C? And he'll always avail himself. And I think that's the one thing, he's been consistent since he's entered the team environment.
And with regards to the team, you also spoke about just everyone being accountable to themselves first before the team.
Yeah, and I think what he's brought in is like, we have to trust each other. Especially once you cross that boundary. You have fielders, you have batters, you have bowlers, you have keepers. But once you trust each and every single person on that field, it becomes easy for you to execute your skill because you feel it from your teammates. And I mean, when you make a mistake, before he even has to say something, you can pick up your hand and he's like, that's me. And that's what he's brought in. And he doesn't shout at you. He doesn't say, okay, then let's get better. you know you're not going to get reprimanded. You know he's going to find a solution for you to get better. And he always a guy that says, come to me with solutions, not problems. And then there's a time where like, I try to find the solutions,
I don't know.
And it's like, okay, how can I help? At least you honest, so you understand that relationship.
Yeah.
So always make sure you problem solve up until you can't, and then he'll step in.
It also feels like, Sinalo, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but it also feels like the team is in a slightly different place. And we know in a team setup, especially when you're representing the country, the importance of being in sync as a team.
Yeah, like I think for us, we know that the badge comes first. The badge represents our community. It represents our country. It represents where you come from. Where you'll have your name on the back, but that's irrelevant because if you don't serve this, no one will ever remember that. And I think that's what we've identified as a team, is like for us to be pioneers for the next generation, we have to set the tone in saying this is how things are done. And that's what we now are very hard on. If you're going to come into the environment, these are the non-negotiables. This comes first.
In now the past 31 years, but particularly, let's say, the past 10, who is that one person where you're like, if it wasn't for this person in my life, I do not think, tell me more.
You don't finish. My mom.
Tell me more.
The sacrifices that this lady has done, like for me, I don't say thank you often, but for her, when I see the pride, and you know, people always say, what does it feel like to have a child that's a celebrity? And then she always responds, until she stops doing dishes, that's when I consider her not a celebrity. So yeah, mom, I still do dishes. But I think with her, she's been someone that showed me what real determination, grit, resilience is. Like, who am I to give up if my mom didn't give up on having a child, being alone, and that. So for me, that's always one thing that I always go back to. Yes, we argue and we fight, but for me, she'll always be that lady that set the tone.
There's something else, Sinalo, that's very important that we hardly speak about in the context of the Proteas women. But I think in the past, it's probably one of the most transformed teams in the country. You know, I remember 2023, we also had the Netball World Cup. Wasn't the most transformed. At a time, we probably had like 2-3 players of color. But when I think about the Proteas, you've got your Nonkululeko, you've got your Ayabongas, you've got yourself. There's like, it's very transformed. How important is that in the context of South Africa, particularly for women's cricket?
Yeah, I think when you look at us, we literally like holistic across the board. And the one thing that we've identified as a team is like, not everyone has the same why, but how can we make our why become one? And the one thing that it came to was the community we come from. We want to serve them well. And I think when you look at everyone in the team, everyone is in on merit. You can't even say that no one doesn't deserve to be there. Whoever comes in, whoever comes out, we know that once a replacement happens, whether it's a person of color or whatnot, we know that you deserve to be there. And I think that's what I love about the sport we play in. If you work hard, you will always reap the rewards, regardless of who wants you in and who wants you out. And that's what I love about cricket.
So we know to anticipate the book that's coming. You're already an analyst on TV, so that box is ticked. What else should we expect from Sinalo in the next couple of years?
It's crazy. My heart was in the right place even during the addiction. I started my foundation. I paused it when I went into rehab, and I'm yet to relaunch. And the reason being is I want to tie in who I was before to who I am now. So obviously sending people to rehab is going to filter in within the foundation, no longer just sport. It's going to cover mental health and also sobriety and trying to get people to get sober. So I think that's what's taking long for the launch, because now you have to find the nitty-gritties and understand that health does it this way, sports does it this way. Now, how can we combine it to make sure it becomes one? But I'd really wish that with my foundation, especially grassroots level, like the youngsters can get the shove that I got. And then from a sobriety, send people to rehab and get them sober. If we can't get them to rehab, get them to a safe place around where we know that they will be safe.
Sinalo Jafta, your story is incredible, and I think that's an understatement. Maybe I'm not even doing it justice, but it's a very important story. So I'm going to hold you on to specifically the book because it's a story that needs to be told. Sinalo Jafta, Proteas woman cricketer, and soon to be a World Cup winner. We're crossing our fingers that that's going to happen soon. And thank you so much for watching Women in Sport Africa. Let's see you again next week, Sunday at 12:30, right here on SABC2.